Coming home. Mashyach. Messiah. 2. God or man? Whose side are you on? There is a common theme among the next 4 mizmor, one that flows out of the previous 11. We are being afforded a choice between the family of God and the institutions of man. Yahowah wants to provide the information needed to equip us to make an informed decision. Considering what follows, this is the perfect way to dedicate this psalm. To the enduring leader, Natzak, to approach and on behalf of the everlasting and majestic director who endeavors to guide and who is preeminent and distinguished, even glorious, forever. Natzak is a verb modified by the piel participle in the masculine singular, which means that those who listen to the song which was inspired by the eternal conductor will be influenced by his lyrics, above and beyond, al, upon and over, the 8th octave, Shamanith, a scale for eternity, 4. Heaven and beyond, from Shamani and Shemaim, 8th, infinite time, and the spiritual realm. A song of Daud, the beloved, Mizmor la Daud. Mizmor/lyrics to sing/Psalm 12 dedication. This is the second of 3 occasions where Shamanith appears in the text in reference to the instrumentation for a song. Closely related to Shamani 8th, it would be natural to consider Shamanith to be the 8th octave, as the English term octave is based upon the Latin word for 8, octo. The only problem with this approach is that a harp can only play 6½ octaves, not 8, and its range exceeds other stringed instruments. Further, since this is a song, the human voice is only capable of performing within a 4-octave range, with the 8th octave residing at the upward limit of what people can hear. It is interesting, nonetheless, that sheep can hear well into the 8th octave. In context, however, when we consider a scale based upon 8 in harmony with Yahuwah's nomenclature, we are led to several thought-provoking possibilities. As we discussed several chapters ago, the 8th day of Sukkah serves as a reference to eternal life with God in heaven. Further, the Hebrew word for 8, Shamani, is remarkably similar to Shemaim heaven. Also interesting, musically, there are 7 notes in an octave, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, audibly affirming Yahuwah's plan which is based upon 7. It is one which reverberates throughout his word and time. Consequently, Daud is dedicating this song to Yahuwah in recognition of his desire to spend his eternity in his Father's company in heaven. He realizes that God is not pleased with the conduct of men on earth and that conditions will be far better in the spiritual realm. As evidence of this, consider the implications of the name and verb which follow. YAHOWAH, Yahowah, an accurate transliteration of the name of Eloah, God guided by his Torah, instructions regarding his Haya, existence and our Shalom, reconciliation, you and I concur in choosing to save, Yasha, it is your will and my desire to deliver and to rescue, freeing them from harm, providing deliverance and salvation, hyphal imperative pedagogic he, cohortative, thus conveying that this is Daud's desire and Yah's will to provide freedom. Unfortunately however, and by contrast, KY, truthfully and because, the godly and steadfastly dedicated, Chassid, those who are devoted and loyal, from Chassid, to appreciate what it means to be merciful and good, no longer exist and fail to perform, Gamer, are gone, no longer engaged or active, having become too few and inadequate for a period of time for anything positive to occur or to fulfill their purpose. Cal perfect, literally for a finite period. For indeed, KY, surely, those who are trustworthy and reliant, immune, those who are reliable and dependable, those who can be trusted and relied upon, those who are truthful and honest, whose testimony steadfastly aligns with reality, from Aman, to support, confirm, and uphold the truth and to stand for what is right, have vanished, pauses, disappear for a period of time, Cal perfect, among, min, from or as part of, the sons of Adam, Beni Adam, the children of man and the descendants of humankind. Mizmor/lyrics to sing/Psalm 12 verse 1. The opening statement is just 2 words long, and yet, it defines the mission of Father and Son, his offer and our opportunity. This consensus on liberation and salvation was expressed in the cohortative, as first-person volition, it conveys Daud's desire, and in the imperative, as an expression of second-person volition, it denotes Yah's will. Therefore, it is the will of God and the Messiah to deliver select humans from harm's way. This statement is also an expression of cause and effect. Scribed in the hyphal stem, the subject is working with the object to affect the result. However, in this case, the object of Yahsh's intent, which would have been the devoted and reliant, were nowhere to be found. From this, we can conclude that only those who have an affinity for God, who are genuine in their approach to him, and who have come to trust and rely upon him can be saved. Also, for whatever period of time Yahuwah and Daud were surveying, there was no one on earth who was prepared to benefit from what they were offering. From the beginning with Abraham, Yahuwah has been consistent, such that we should all be aware that, when it comes to the Berith and Micra-EY, the beneficiaries participate in their deliverance and salvation. Daud is thereby affirming that our decision to accept and act upon the 5 instructional conditions of covenant participation, and attend the Moedim, not only liberates us from the edicts and institutions of man, but it also enables Father and Son to save us. This is a treatise on Yasha, deliverance. Liberation and salvation not only go hand in hand, but one also leads to the other. To be saved, we must first remove ourselves from the corrupting and corrosive influences of man's most divisive and duplicitous individuals and institutions. This is a lesson on the purpose of the Torah. It is the will and desire of its author, his inspiration to liberate us, freeing us so that we might enjoy and capitalize upon our free will. This means, of course, that Jews and Christians would both be wrong in classifying the Torah as laws to be obeyed. Just 2 words, and yet for those who recognize that Yahuwah inspired David to write these Mizmor psalms, they explain what Father and Son are offering, they lay out the path to a relationship within the covenant, they reveal God's will for our lives, and they demonstrate the connection between freedom and salvation, all while conveying the choice we are afforded and the benefits derived from it. As positive and uplifting as those words are, what follows is tragic. The reason as few as 1 in a million understand what Yahowah inspired the Messiah to write is, that for a very long period of time, no one was listening. All of the prophets who revealed Yahowah's inspiration came after Daud with the exception of Moses, Yahusha, Ben Nun, Ruth, Deborah, and the king's contemporaries, Shamuel, Chanah, and Nathan. And even then, many of the books written thereafter are highly suspect. For example, there is nothing in Ezra, Nehemiah, or Haggai to demonstrate that they were inspired by Yahowah. As such, these books, along with Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Esther, Job, Jonah, Enoch, and Ezekiel, fall woefully short of the Torah's test for determining if a supposed prophet was speaking for Yahowah or himself. This would leave us with prophets such as Eliah Elijah and Ethan, Yoel Joel and Amos Amos, Micaiah Micah and Zephaniah, Hosea Hosea and Habakkuk, Yirmiah Jeremiah and Yashaya Isaiah, Zechariah and Malachi. The last two on this esteemed list, Zechariah and Malachi, wrote between 500 and 450 BCE, or around 5 centuries after the Messiah's initial reign. That was 2,500 years ago, and yet, during this intervening period, there have been very few sufficiently dedicated to Yahowah to be trustworthy witnesses on his behalf. During most of this time, there have been none. There has never been a shortage, however, of those willing to lie for personal gain. In fact, most civilizations and cultures have been shaped by them. Men, an individual or person, common singular absolute, speak, dabber, they communicate verbally and in writing, uttering words, peel imperfect third-person masculine plural, the object suffers the effect of their statements throughout time, futile and worthless lies, shawa, falsely and vainly, deceptively and errantly conveying idolatrous pleas on behalf of pagan gods replete with empty promises and false narratives, leading to nothingness, to ill treatment and suffering, from show to ravage and devastate, to ruin and waste, and to negate based upon vain and empty, worthless delusions, in association with, against and to the accompaniment of, which are in accord with, his loud-mouthed and immoral countrymen, who his wicked and evil associates, his good-for-nothing and undesirable friends with common ethnicities, read, Romans and Greeks, shouting that which is improper, regretfully hindering and severing the relationship among those living in geographic proximity with similar social customs based upon his irrational reasoning, masculine singular. They continuously speak, dabber, they routinely communicate verbally and in writing, constantly uttering words, peel imperfect third-person masculine singular, the object suffers the effect of his statements throughout time, with flattering, yet divisive, lips and insulting praise, with a slippery and slick mouth, with disingenuous speech, and with illegitimate language, a smooth talker who apportions and plunders, dividing and separating in a deceitful manner, from chalak. To divide and plunder, with emotional appeals based upon a double standard, individual reasoning, and personal motivations, with a duplicitous heart and ulterior motives, conveying his inner nature, inclinations, and ambitions. Mizmor/lyrics to sing Psalm 12 verse 2. There were two anomalies here that may simply be an artifact of ancient Hebrew grammar, but you should know them, nonetheless. Each individual man was scribed in the singular form, as was who, his immoral countryman, while both verbs were third-person plural. This may be Daud's way of saying that, while one man, in particular, was responsible for lighting this destructive fire, there were many fanning its flames. Religious deceptions are enormously popular. The false narratives prevail because they resonate with and are amplified by the perpetrator's immoral countrymen. All too often it is because the instigator, as was the case with Paul and even Hitler, plays to a community's sense of superiority, flattering those he seeks to beguile by telling them what they want to hear, all while blaming others for their lack of success. Far more profound is the realization that God is opposed to flattery and praise. After all, a being who would create inferior lifeforms to worship him would be so insecure and desperate, he wouldn't be worth knowing. When Jews, Christians, and Muslims purport to praise God during their worship services, they are discrediting and demeaning him, all while demonstrating that they do not know him. It is Satan who covets praise. Also, we would do well to stop talking and start listening. Praying to God is counterproductive. There is nothing we can say that he does not already know, and when we do so, we are not listening to him. In fact, by inverting the proper order of things, the prayerful are far more likely to insult and anger the Almighty than they are to beneficially engage him. This is the reason that Yahowah never once asks us to pray but constantly encourages us to listen. Yahowah, the proper pronunciation of Yahowah, God's personal and proper name based upon Haya, to exist and guided by Torah, to teach, has chosen to cut off and exclude, Kareth, he will elect to cut down and eliminate, Hyphal imperfect Jussif, every divisive lip and every insulting bit of praise, Kol Safa Chalak, all of the flattery coming out of slippery and slick mouths, the totality of disingenuous speech and illegitimate language, all of the smooth talkers who apportion and plunder, dividing and separating in a deceitful manner. The tongues, lashon, the language behind and talking underlying, actually singular, conveying many long speeches, dabber gadol, uttering seemingly important words and revered statements, peel participle singular, Mizmor 12-3, show their way by them stating, Asher, Amar, who say, Kal perfect third-person masculine plural, through our verbal declarations, la lashon anaknu, with our tongues, words, and speeches, by means of language, approaching through our oral declarations. Man's greatness will be established through overwhelming inundation, Gabber, mankind will prevail and our arrogant barrage will be justified because we humans are irresistible and awe-inspiring, even overbearing in our universal acceptance among the preponderance of people. Based upon our languages and our speeches, Safa, Anaknu, Anaknu, in concert with our lips and with our spoken words, who, what if anything, is Lord and Master, Adown, could impose their status, controlling or possessing, thereby wielding power, over us, La, Anaknu, with regard to us or concerning us. Mizmor/lyrics to sing Psalm 12 verse 4. Those willing to listen to what YAHOWAH has to say to us process his words thoughtfully and respond rationally. We are cut into the covenant as a result. Those who speak to him and others on behalf of their religion are considered divisive and thus will be excluded. Unless we are sharing Yah's testimony and helping others understand it, the fewer speeches we make the better. And the more we seek a following, the harder we seek to establish our worth, the less God will think of us. When men and women promote a religious or political ideal, party, or individual, they are actually revealing their Lord and Master. Equally vital, those who do so also affirm that they are not led by God. Demonstrating the purpose of deliverance while revealing from whom it is provided, even the means to it, the following is a treatise on Yasha. As a result, because of the oppressed and subjugated, the straightforward and unpretentious, the harassed, abused, and impoverished who are denied their status and rights, those lacking hubris who are afflicted, who are plundered of their possessions and treated unjustly, shad, who are subjugated to abused and discredited, because, as a result, of the anguishing sighs, anaka, of the emotional suffering, the torture, and physical distress, even the groaning and wailing, of those who desire deliverance from abuse and are prepared to be saved, ebyan, of the wants and needs of those subjected to oppression, who while troubled show a desire to accept salvation, from Abba, showing a willingness to consent and a desire to accept, at this point in time, Ada, now, simultaneous with these events, I will take a stand, Kyum, I will stand up, establishing myself in opposition, says, Amar, declares, YAHOWAH, YAHOWAH. An accurate transliteration of the name of Eloah, God guided by his Torah, instructions regarding his Haya, existence and our Shalom, reconciliation. For those who are right, KY Tzadak, for the correct, from 11 QPs, not in the Masoretic text, I will provide a place, SHYTH, I will set and establish, moving to constitute and appoint a locale, cal in perfect first person singular, which is safe, delivering and liberating, even saving, BA Yasha, away from clear and present danger, so as to provide salvation. The one who testifies as a witness for him, Puwach Lahu, the one who speaks exuberantly and passionately, pouring out words which clearly demonstrate his respect for him, showing a willingness to expose and malign false witnesses and perjurers on his behalf, hyphal in perfect third person masculine singular, Mizmor/lyrics to sing Psalm 12 verse 5. Since he is just, YAHOWAH must seek recompense, holding those who have abused his people accountable for what they have done. Foremost among those who will see their abusers punished are the Ebyan of yesterday and today, since they are prepared to accept what father and son are offering. Some 2,000 years ago, setting the proper example, the Ebyonim Ebionites, being Torah observant, recognized the Passover lamb while rejecting Peter and Paul as false prophets. It did not matter to them that the voices championing Judaism and Christianity in their midst outspoke them by many thousands to one, or that they would be abused and even killed by the religious, they stood their ground. And soon, there will be a price to pay by those who rob them of their dignity. The concluding statement is in YAHOWAH's voice. Further, this rendering of it is consistent with the Dead Sea Scrolls. This means that the testimony God views as Tzadak right which he will Yasha, protect, delivering the witness from the caustic influence of the verbosity and vengeance of the religious, is that of Puwach, the one providing testimony on behalf of him, Dowd. Therefore, there is a man currently speaking on behalf of the Son of God and Messiah who YAHOWAH has prophetically promised to keep in a safe place so that his voice is unimpaired. Methinks I know who that might be. And as usual, YAHOWAH has exceeded expectations. His home is a jewel on a tropical island overlooking the sea, thousands of miles from the land of his birth. Our willingness to testify as a witness on Dowd's behalf isn't a requirement for salvation, but it serves to demonstrate how vital it has become from YAHOWAH's perspective that his people awaken to the fact that Dowd is the Son of God and the Messiah, in addition to being the Passover lamb. He is also our returning King and Savior, the embodiment of the Berith and the one chosen to fulfill the Mikri Y. As we have consistently noted, mankind's claims are constantly changing, always unreliable, and filled with contradictions, while YAHOWAH's promises are always fulfilled. God's words are reliable and true, free of imperfections. The words and instructions, Imra, that which is communicated and predicted, and which will be fulfilled by the teachings and guidance of YAHOWAH, YAHOWAH, the proper pronunciation of the name of Eloah, God as directed in his Torah, teaching regarding his higher existence and our Shalom, restoration, are pure and purifying words, perfect and perfecting statements, Tahar Imra. They are renewing and restoring instructions, cleansing utterances devoid of foreign ingredients, with no commingling or intermixing, precious and valuable, kasef, highly desirable, refined and tested, syrup, true and proven, examined and flawless, smelted, in the crucible, owl, in a place where that which is wanted and valuable is demonstrably removed from that which is worthless and undesirable, of the material realm, laha eretz, of the land and of the earth, purified, zakak, refined and skimmed and strained of impurities, pure participle masculine singular, sevenfold. Shibathame. 7 times on 7 occasions in 7 ways. Mizmor/lyrics to sing Psalm 12 verse 6. YAHOWAH's Torah guidance is filled with his Imra words of instruction. His statements are perfect and perfecting, and especially as they pertain to Chag Matzah which Dowd fulfilled. The only thing equally valuable, refined, and tested are the souls of those who embrace them. Character is often forged in crucibles, during challenging times when our metal is tested. Such was the case in Mitzrayim, the crucibles of oppression, when the chosen people were removed from the dross of human religious and governmental subjugation under trying circumstances. And even then, they were delivered from harm after walking away from the oppressive influences of that foreign culture. And while all were spared, not all were saved. It takes more than walking away from man to live with God. The 7 ways we are refined and purified, becoming desirable, are manifest through the 7 Mikri Y, 4 of which Dowd has or will fulfill, Pesach, Matzah, Bikurim, and Kippurim to be king of Sukkah. Through them, we become flawless and perfect, particularly during Passover and unyeasted bread. And as a result, we become enormously valuable to God. Also, since the previous statement was focused on the last herald of the returning king, the work of Yahuwah's Choder succor from the original rootstock has been enabled sevenfold by the support of the seven spirits of Yahuwah. As we consider this next statement, it is left for us to ponder when, with what generation and time, Yahuwah intends to honor his promise to eternally protect those he has refined. YAHOWAH, YAHOWAH, the proper pronunciation of YAHOWAH, God's personal and proper name based upon Haya, to exist and guided by Torah, to teach, you, yourself, will watch over them, Adashamar Hem, you will always focus on them, closely examining and carefully considering them, Kal in perfect second person masculine singular, protecting and preserving us, Natsar Benaknu, with you continually sparing us by removing us from harm's way, focusing on us and guarding us, causing the branch to bloom and flourish for us, maintaining us, Kal in perfect second person masculine singular energic non-pedagogic, from this particular generation, Min Hadawarzu, from this place and time and away from this group of people in this period, and forevermore, La Alam, throughout eternity. Mizmor/lyrics to sing Psalm 12 verse 7. If we define those who are refined narrowly, seeing only the souls who have individually availed themselves of the benefits of the Mikra, this promise has always been true, beginning with Adam, then Noach, and Abraham. But if that was what Yah was implying, why tie the promise to Hadawarzu, this specific generation? As such, I think that this is prophetic of Yah's return and speaks of those living in that generation. This perspective is also the best way to explain why Daud spoke of Yahuwah watching over them while also protecting us as part of this particular generation. Wrong has always been more popular than right. Villainy is common, and truth is rare. In a world where false gods are worshipped, the one true God is seldom acknowledged. All around and from every side, Sabib, surrounding and encircling, forming a perimeter and circuitously, those who are deceitful and wrong, Rasha, those willfully negating the standard, the errant and evil, those who are Torah-averse and ungodly, the fraudulent and religious, those guilty of leading others astray by engaging in criminal activity, those who are vexing and unethical, seeking disharmony between man and God, travel about, halak, walk about, conducting themselves, lifting up and exalting, elevating and advocating in rebellious fashion, villainy and vice, zuluth, immoral filth and foolishness, that which is worthless, squandering one's life by making light of the truth, among, regarding, the descendants of Adam, Beni Adam, the children of man. Mizmor/lyrics to sing Psalm 12 verse 8. The hardest part of coming to know Yahuwah and of coming to understand his testimony is filtering out all of the worthless ideas that have corrupted our judgment. In a sea of lies, even an ark is hard to find. I began this journey through Yahuwah's testimony 22 years ago, long after I had ceased being religious or political, and yet, cleansing my mind of nearly 40 years of religious imprinting was the most rigorous challenge. The fact that this is now the 11th edition of many of these books serves as proof that one does not go from mostly wrong to totally right in an instant. And as this psalm attests, the most recent realizations which led to rewrites are that Daud is the Messiah, Son of God, and the Passover Lamb. To the enduring leader, Lahanatsak, above and beyond, Al, the 8th octave, Shemanith. A song of Daud, the beloved, Mizmor la Daud. Mizmor 12 dedication. Yahuwah, Yahuwah, you and I concur in choosing to liberate and save, Yasha. Unfortunately, however, KY, the godly and steadfastly dedicated, Chassid, no longer exist and fail to perform, such that no one is able to fulfill their purpose, Gamma. For indeed, KY, those who are trustworthy and reliant, dependable and truthful, immune, have vanished, pauses, among, men, the sons of Adam and descendants of humankind, Beni Adam. Mizmor 12:1. Men, Wisach, speak, dabber, futile and worthless lies, deceptively and vainly promoting delusions, Shawa, in association with, death, his loud-mouthed and immoral countrymen, Rea, who. They continuously speak, dabber, with flattering, yet divisive, lips and insulting praise, Safa Chalak, with emotional appeals based upon a double standard, individual reasoning, and personal motivations, Leb wa Leb. Mizmor 12:2. Yahuwah, Yahuwah, has chosen to cut off and exclude, Kereth, every divisive lip and every insulting bit of praise, Kol Safa Chalak. The tongues, Lashon, conveying many long speeches, Dabber Gadau, Mizmor 12:3, show their way by them stating, Asher, Amar, through our verbal declarations, La Lashon Anaknu, man's greatness will be established through overwhelming inundation among the preponderance of people, Gabber. Based upon our languages and our speeches, Safa Anaknu, Eth Anaknu, who, my, is Lord and Master, Adown, over us, La Anaknu. Mizmor 12:4. As a result, min, of the oppressed and subjugated, the straightforward and unpretentious, any, who are plundered of their possessions and treated unjustly, shad, because, min, of the anguishing sighs, anaka, of those who desire deliverance from abuse and are prepared to be saved, ebyan, at this point in time, ada, I will take a stand, kyum, says, Amar, Yahuwah, Yahuwah. For those who are right, ky tzadak, I will provide a place, shyh, which is safe, delivering and liberating, even saving, ba yasha, the one who testifies as a witness for him, puwach lahu, dot. Mizmor 12:5. The words and instructions, Imra, of Yahuwah, Yahuwah, are pure and purifying words, perfect and perfecting statements, Tahar, Imra, precious and valuable, Kesef, refined and tested, Serap, in the crucible, Ba, Alo, of the material realm, Laha, Eretz, purified, Zakak, sevenfold, Shibbathim. Mizmor 12:6. Yahuwah, Yahuwah, you, yourself, will consistently watch over them while focusing upon them, Adashamar Hem, protecting and preserving us, Natsar, Anaknu, from this particular generation, Min Hadawarzu, and forevermore, La Alam. Mizmor 12:7. All around and from every side, Sabib, those who are deceitful and wrong, Rasha, travel about, Halak, lifting up and exalting, Rum, villainy and vice, Zuluth, among, La, regarding, the descendants of Adam, Beni Adam. Mizmor/lyrics to sing/Psalm 12 verse 8. Yada Yahowah. Considering what follows, this is the perfect way to dedicate this Mizmor. To the majestic conductor, Natzak, to approach and on behalf of the everlasting director who endeavors to guide and who is preeminent and distinguished, even glorious, forever. Natzak is a verb modified by the peel participle in the masculine singular, which means that those who listen to the song which was inspired by the eternal conductor will be influenced by his lyrics, a song of Daud, the beloved. Mizmor la Daud. Mizmor/lyrics to sing/Psalm 13 dedication. As we approach the questions which will soon be placed before us, we can envision Daud representing Yisrael and Yehudah. And since that is the case, he is asking God how much time will pass before he re-engages with his people. Alternatively, these inquiries can be answered within the scope of the struggle for souls between Daud and Shaul. They can also be projected toward the conflict between the Messiah and the author of the New Testament, and thus to Christianity and then Judaism in response. Based upon the statements which follow the questions, particularly as presented in the conclusion of Mizmor 13:2, the latter interpretation becomes a most reasonable approach, thereby shaping the translation of the questions. YAHOWAH, YAHOWAH, an accurate transliteration of the name of Eloah, God guided by his Torah, instructions regarding his Haya, existence and our Shalom, reconciliation, for how long, especially on behalf of the enduring witness, Ad, Anna, for what extent of time regarding the everlasting testimony, will you allow me to be overlooked, Shaka, any, will you endure me losing my significance, thought about improperly, cease to be cared about, and essentially forgotten such that there is no response to me, Cal imperfect. Enduring eminence, Natzak, majestic and everlasting guide, preeminent and distinguished leader, and perpetual conductor, for what extent of time, Adpan, for how long on behalf of the enduring witness, will you conceal, Satar, will you hide and keep hidden, covering, Hyphal imperfect, the direct and close association, Death, the accompaniment as well as the proximity and nearness, of your presence, Pana, Ada, of your appearance, with regard to me, Min, any, from me as an implement and because of me, even as part of me. Mizmor/lyrics to sing/Psalm 13 verse 1. It was among the most devastating crimes ever perpetrated, with the most horrific consequences for God and his people, and yet, it would be 22 years into devoting 10 hours a day, 6 days a week translating Yah's words before I uncovered it. It started with one prophecy and, indeed, with one word, Asher, in 2 Samuel 7, a text I've translated 20 times. Then, in the related Yashayah Isaiah 9 verse 6, we realized that Gibbor, the most competent and courageous of men, spoke of Daud. This same prediction in turn led Jews to long ago realize that the misnomer, Jesus, couldn't be the Mashyach Messiah. Then there was another and another, with hundreds of affirmations from Yahuwah's perspective that Daud is the most important and enlightened person who ever lived. God had more to say about him and through him than anyone else, including Moses before him, 1,000 prophecies, with some of the most riveting found in Mizmor Psalm 89. Daud's position with Yah is so obvious, so important, and so undeniable it's astounding that billions upon billions have bought into the nullifications and misappropriations of Judaism and Christianity, whereby most everything God had to say about Daud was either ignored or taken from him and given to Jesus. Through the confusion, Yehudim have lost sight of the Son of God, their Mashyach, their King, and, indeed, their Savior. An unfathomable number of Gentiles were lured to their deaths by the resulting fraud. I was not the first, nor will I be the last, to recognize that Yahuwah revealed himself to us and has chosen to relate to us through his Son, Daud, our Shepherd, Messiah, and King, even the Passover Lamb. 7 prophets spoke specifically of it in addition to Daud, Shamuel, Nathan, Ethan, Husha, Yashayah, Yirmiah, and Zechariah. We have already considered some of these and will present them all, beginning with the earliest hints in the Torah. The proof is overwhelming and irrefutable. They demonstrate that the faith of billions has been wrongly placed in a false Messiah by a false prophet, leaving countless souls estranged from the covenant of God's people. All the while, Yisraelites and Yehudim have become oblivious to his role in their lives, past, present, and future. It is my hope that what we have discovered will be found by, and will resonate with, numerous Yisraelites and Yehudim, and as they listen to what Yahuwah inspired Daud and the other 7 prophets to write, many of his chosen people follow them home. But with Gentiles, as well as with the religious among the chosen, I am conflicted, knowing the horrible cost of the crimes both have committed. Fortunately, knowing that covenant participation comes with requirements, God will use them to vet those who read these translations of his words such that the family remains untainted by the despicable deceptions of Christian replacement theology and Jewish denial. The question Daud asked in this Mizmor will be answered over the next decade, albeit in steps, with coming home contributing to moving the world closer to the right outcome. We know the answer, as do all those who have read these books and listened to the audio programs based on them. But what we do not know is how many will find them or how they will respond. Daud's advice and counsel have been available for 3,000 years. For nearly that long, so has that of the 7 prophets who affirmed his declarations. And yet, fewer than 1,000 people today are aware of what God revealed in this regard, while billions believe the liars. That's a shame because there may be nothing more important, especially since Daud is the living embodiment of the covenant and represents everything that is important to Yahuwah as his beloved son. He, more than anyone, leads the willing to God, doing so through his words and deeds. For how long on behalf of the enduring witness, and for what extent of time regarding the everlasting testimony, will I set forth, shydh, will I establish and appoint, constituting, counsel and advice, etc., sharing the plan and its purpose so that others know what to do, through my soul, by means of my consciousness and based upon my ability to be observant and respond, with who I am as a person, and through my character, aptitudes and attitudes. The dissatisfaction of having been pushed away, discarded and disregarded, Yagaon, the grief, anguish, and sorrow of being thrust aside, from Gaga, grieving and sorrow caused by having been rejected and removed, is upon my heart and in my thinking, permeates my thought process and judgment, every day, Yaumim, much of the time. For what extent of time, for how long on behalf of the enduring witness, will the one who is in opposition to me, will the one who is adversarial toward me, showing animosity and rancor toward me, be lifted up and exalted, be considered more worthy as an independent source, holding a lofty status, over me, before me. Mizmor/lyrics to sing Psalm 13 verse 2. It is hard to imagine, but there was something far worse than having mankind's most illustrious empire torture the Son of God. There was something more hellish than sending the Messiah to Sheol with our guilt. Denying what he has done, as is the case with Judaism, or crediting someone with the sacrifice, as is the case with Christianity. Naturally, Dowd is disappointed that he has been discarded and disregarded, not just for himself but, also, for all of the souls he tried in vain to save. Adding to his aggravation, he painstakingly and methodically explained his fulfillment of the Mikra, as did the other prophets, and still, no one was willing to accept what occurred when it played out as promised. Instead of showing our appreciation and capitalizing on the gift of life, indeed, salvation, the men most responsible for denying his sacrifice are venerated above him, Peter, Paul, and Akiba. I realize that it's easy to say that Christians are guilty as hell because they admittedly took each of the many hundreds of prophecies that attest to Dowd's words, accolades, and deeds and attributed them all to Jesus, as if God were a blithering idiot and couldn't distinguish his son from a mythological caricature. The Christian position makes God out to be a liar and is preposterous. It is also anti-Semitic since they blame Jews, not Romans, for killing their God. So, while the Christian misappropriation of God's intent is obvious, what about Jews? Some might say that they venerate Dowd because the Star of David has become the symbol of the nation of Israel and the religion of Judaism. Yes, it is, but no, it isn't. In the tens of thousands of words written about Dowd David by the prophets YAHOWAH inspired, there is only one which could be extrapolated to associating a star with him. However, the symbol is unabashedly attributed to Bar Kokhba, the son of a star, who was Akiba's false messiah. Clinging to the delusion that led to the diaspora, Jews subjugated throughout the Holy Roman Empire continued to identify with this symbol of false religious hope. Mocking them, the Roman Catholic Church made them wear it as a sign that they should be disrespected and delegitimized, dehumanized and demonized throughout Europe. That is why the Nazis used it, to the same effect. Therefore, to attribute this symbol of denial and degradation to Dowd is as delusional as it is disgusting. Dowd, as a prophet, was transported into the future, where he witnessed the effect Paul's epistles and Akiba's Talmud would have on the people he loved. He, therefore, came to realize that the deadliest plot in human history would be based on discrediting and discarding him. It would be Satan's greatest achievement and humanity's most egregious loss. You and I are in agreement that it is essential that you consider, Naboth, it is my desire and your choice to think about this and provide an impassioned response which conveys your will to examine this by, hyphal imperative paragogic cohortative second person masculine plural, answering me, Anna, any, you choose to respond to me, declaring the information necessary such that it can sing as part of the lyrics to a song. Cal imperative, Yahowah, Yahowah, the proper pronunciation of the name of Eloah, God as directed in his Torah, teaching regarding his higher existence and our shalom, restoration, my God, Elohim any, my mighty one. Illuminate, or, enlighten, providing sight, providing light, hyphal imperative paragogic cohortative, my eyes, mine any, my vision and ability to be observant and see clearly, negating the possibility, pen, preventing any apprehension over the consequence, that I become inactive and die, Yashin Hamuth, that I sleep chronically, in an altered state of awareness unto death, enduring the plague. Mizmor/lyrics to sing Psalm 13 verse 3. It is by knowing that we may live. It is through ignorance that we become susceptible to the plague of death and die. To benefit from the covenant, we must actively engage in it based on the conditions Yahowah has illuminated. The slanderous and disingenuous testimony of Shaul Paul, as presented in his Christian New Testament, has prevailed in robbing Dowd and his people of their dignity. In its place, he gave rise to the most anti-Semitic institution the world would ever know. And in response, Akiba fought one lie with another, creating Judaism, which did as much harm as the religion it was intended to refute. Otherwise, pen, lest and so that, negating the possibility while preventing apprehension over the consequence, the one who is in opposition to me, any, the one who is adversarial toward me, showing animosity and rancor toward me, will say, Amar, will express and declare, I have prevailed over him, Yakelhu, I have succeeded, daring to be more accomplished than him, able to grasp more than him and become superior to him, Cal perfect. My adversaries, Zar any, those who oppose me, who are openly hostile, who are anguishing and troublesome toward me, bringing about an extremely unfavorable outcome in concert with the adversary, are pleased, rejoicing and exalting in their circular reasoning, GYL, are glad, feeling fortuitous, jubilant and delighted, related to Galgal, like a wheel rolling in a whirlwind, as I am dislodged and removed, toppled from my rightful position, Moth, I am treated unfavorably, shaken and moved. Out of the way, even overthrown, having fallen from my position and made to appear inadequate, subjected to the control of others. Mizmor/lyrics to sing Psalm 13 verse 4. God provided many hundreds of prophecies pertaining to what his Ben Son and Mashyach Messiah would accomplish. Many were scribed in first person, and they are abundantly clear. And yet, Jews dismissed them, and Christians stole them. As a result, countless millions have been deprived of salvation. Dowd's adversaries are religious Christians and Jews because both sought to systematically remove him from his exalted and rightful position alongside Yahuwah, doing so by either renouncing or transferring his acclaim using circular reasoning. The consequence, as noted, has been horrendous, causing Gentiles to believe it is their God-given right to denigrate Jews while negating the revelations God made through them. Failing to recognize that Dowd is the Messiah left Jews estranged from both father and son. They would be enslaved, segregated, subjugated, and impoverished by more people, and in harsher conditions, than any ethnicity in history. And yet, even throughout the Gentile-inspired genocide of the Holocaust, a remnant would survive. Many of them will come home in our time. Psalm after psalm and prophet after prophet have told the same story, revealing the ecstasy associated with God's beloved Son opening the door to understanding and the agony of having ignorant men convolute his intent such that his children were abused rather than blessed. It is the story of man superimposing his myths over Yah's witness and leading countless generations astray. And yet, but I, myself, have trusted and relied upon, I have placed my confidence in, and I have become safe and secure by, Perfect, your loyal love, enduring devotion, unfailing kindness, and genuine mercy, Chesed, Ada, your tremendous benefits and ongoing favoritism, your steadfast commitment to the relationship and tremendous affection. My thoughts and inclinations, my heart, judgment, and devotion to reason, my inner nature and disposition, my character and basis for living, rejoice, GYL, have chosen to celebrate ecstatically, forever encompassed by this favorable outcome, in perfect Joseph, in your freedom, deliverance, and salvation, Yeshua Ada, your liberation and rescue from harm's way, your willingness to save me, offering vindication and victory while you provide for my prosperity and welfare. Mizmor/lyrics to sing/Psalm 13 verse 5. Dowd initially approached Yahuwah by closely examining the evidence he had provided in his Torah. He then carefully considered the implications of his teaching and guidance and responded appropriately. But he did more than just accept the conditions of the Berith and reply to the Mikri. He established the covenant by fulfilling the invitations. In word and deed, Dowd is our Savior. For the rest of us, the process is straightforward. Observation leads to knowing, knowledge leads to understanding, and comprehension leads to trusting Yahuwah to provide freedom, deliverance, and salvation through his Son. Doing what he did better than anyone who has ever lived. I will sing, SHYR, I will vocalize, melodiously conveying lyrics accompanied by musical instruments, to approach and on behalf of, even before and near, Yahuwah, the proper pronunciation of YAHOWAH, God's personal and proper name based upon Haya, to exist and guided by his Torah, teaching, because, for the reason, he rewards men and seeks recompense, Gamal. He deals fairly with me, bountifully bestowing benefits on me like all the children he raises and weans. While requiring on my behalf restitution and accountability from others, always dealing appropriately. Mizmor/lyrics to sing/Psalm 13 verse 6. Since we have two equally valid ways to translate Gamal, as rewards or seeks recompense, and since both apply and are fair when properly attributed, I've included both within the closing lyrics of the song. We should admire and appreciate Yahuwah for doing both, for honoring his promises to bless his covenant family while also holding those accountable who have sought to denigrate and abuse them. To the enduring leader, Lahanatsak, a song of Dowd, the beloved, Mizmor la Dowd. Mizmor 13 dedication. Yahuwah, for how long, especially on behalf of the enduring witness, Ad Anna, will you allow me to be overlooked, Shaka Eni? Enduring eminence, Natsak, for what extent of time, Adpan, will you conceal, Satar, the direct and close association, of your presence, Pana Ada, with regard to me, Min Eni? Mizmor 13:1. For how long on behalf of the enduring witness, Adpan, will I set forth, SHYH, counsel and advice, Etza, through my soul, Ba Nipesh Eni? The dissatisfaction of having been pushed away, discarded and disregarded, Yagaun, is upon my heart and in my thinking, Ba Lebab Eni, every day, Yaumim. For what extent of time, Adpan, will the one who is in opposition to me, Oyeb Eni, be lifted up and exalted, Rum, over me, Al Eni? Mizmor 13:2. You and I are in agreement that it is essential that you consider, Naboth, answering me, Anna Eni, Yahuwah, my God, Elohim Eni. Illuminate, or, my eyes, Ein Eni, negating the possibility, Pen, that I become inactive and die, Yashin Hamuth. Mizmor 13:3. Otherwise, Pen, the one who is in opposition to me, Oyeb Eni, will say, Amar, I have prevailed over him, Yakelhu. My adversaries, Zar Eni, are pleased, rejoicing and exalting in their circular reasoning, GYL, as I am dislodged and removed, toppled from my rightful position, Moth. Mizmor 13:4. And yet, I, Eni, myself, have trusted and relied upon, Ba, your loyal love, enduring devotion, unfailing kindness, and genuine mercy, Chesed, Ada. My thoughts and inclinations, Leb Eni, rejoice, GYL, in your freedom, deliverance, and salvation, Ba Yeshua Ada. Mizmor 13:5. I will sing, SHYR, to Yahuwah, because, he rewards men and seeks recompense, Gamal. Mizmor 13:6. Yod Hey. Let's take a moment and consider what the other 7 prophets, in addition to Dowd, had to say about the Mashyach and Melech. This distinguished list includes Shamuel, Nathan, Ethan, Husha, Yashaya, Yirmiah, and Zechariah. Also, the prophet, Habakkuk embraced this. Habakkuk provides an amazingly detailed and comprehensive condemnation of Shaul as the plague of death. And while that's vital on its own merit, the intrigue is heightened by the fact Paul quotes from Habakkuk, the very prophecies which were written to condemn him. And this affirms a sad reality. Satan is convinced that no matter how obviously he conveys that the likes of Paul and Muhammad were working for him, mankind is generally so ignorant and irrational, most will drink poison from their hands. Further, there is also an interesting declaration in the Torah found in Bamidbar/Numbers. It provides advice to God's people, encouraging them to come home to the covenant family in our time during the last days. The prophetic declaration reveals what the descendants of Yisrael and Yehudah, more commonly known as Jews, must come to appreciate regarding the inspired words and enduring promises of the Most High if they want to understand why Yahowah is both necessary and sufficient. This Yada realization leads to the irrational response, drawing our attention to the implications of an extraordinary individual's journey through life and time, one who would not arrive for a protracted period. This descendant of Yaakov is called a Kowkab, a luminary and star, and he is Derak, set forth to show the way. Fortuitously, now based upon our review of the 89th Mizmor, we realize that he is speaking of Daud, Yahowah's son, Messiah, and King. The prophecy foretells that, as he comes forth to lead God's family, the scepter is re-established in Yisrael. And with it, Daud will immediately lash out against his people's most daunting foes, Moab the convergence of progressives and the religious, quelling the boisterous and rebellious. And along with them, Yahowah's protective shepherd will conquer Edom, the legacy of imperial and Catholic Rome, disposing of and dispossessing them while incarcerating the satyr, representing Satan, in the process. As a result, Yisrael shall thrive. So now, at this time, Wa'ada, behold, Hina, I am going, Halak, to approach my people, Eni. You and I have agreed to walk together, Halak. I have decided to provide counsel to you, Ada, to show the way to the benefits of the relationship regarding what, Asher, the people, Hazeh, will engage in and act upon, Asa, regarding, your family, Ada, in the last days, Ba, Akrith Hayalmim. Bamidbar/Numbers 2400 hours 14. The prophetic declaration, Na'am, of one who listens to, Shama, the enduring promises, future proclamations, and inspired words, Emer, of God, El, and, Wa, who knows and makes known, Yada, information leading to understanding, Dadh, regarding the Most High, Elion, who prophetically beholds, Chaza, the revelation, Makaza, of Shadi, the one who is essential and sufficient, required, reliable, and capable, Shadi. While descending from an elevated position, Naphal, it was revealed to his eyes, Wa, Eingala. Bamidbar 2400 hours 16. I see him in the future emphatically expressing his will with ongoing implications throughout time, Arayahu, but not now, at this time, Wallo Ada. My perceptions of his journey, sure, do not occur any time soon, Wallo Karob. A star and luminary, a brilliant celestial body of enormous heavenly power, Kowkab, shall shoot out of and come forth to show the way from or for, Derak min, Yaakov. And, Wa, the tribe, with the scepter and shepherd's staff, Shebet, shall rise up and be established, Kyum, out of Yisrael, min Yisrael. Then, Wa, he shall strike, Makkats, the borders, Pia, of Moab, the politically correct, multiculturalists, and Christians, Moab, while, Wa, breaking, Qur, all the descendants, Kol Ben, of Seth, the boisterously rebellious and defiant, Sheth. Bamidbar 2400 hours 17. It shall come to pass, Wa Haya, that Edom representing Rome, Edom, shall be defeated and conquered, Yarsha, and also, Wa, Seir the goat demon and idol, Seir, in opposition to him, Oyebhu, will be, Haya, incarcerated and held captive, Yarsha. And then, Wa, Yisrael, will engage and act, Asa, vigorously and powerfully, Chael. Bamidbar/ by pondering the word/Numbers 2400 hours 18. So, yes, even in the Torah, we find Yahowah calling his people home while predicting how Daud's glorious return as a luminary will quell Yisrael's foes and restore the nation's vigor. His advice is to be there when it occurs. Yod Hey Wah Hey.